Hello, welcome to another episode of Toya Talk Wrestling. Today we're going to talk about some highlights of Raw, the Go Home show for Survivor Series, which I think last week should have been the Go Home show, but whatever. In this episode, I'm going to talk about some stuff because, we got Survivor Series this Saturday. So before I talk about Survivor stuff, I want to talk about the round 2 for the semifinals for the John Cena tournament last match. So we had a match between Gunther versus Carmelo Hayes, which was probably the best match of the night, probably the best thing that happened on the show. It was a great match, a lot of close calls. There were moments where I honestly thought that it looked like they might give it to Carmelo Hayes and stuff like that. I mean, I knew better. I knew that they weren't going to do it. I knew it was going to be Gunther all the way, but there was a lot of stuff, and Gunther was being a prick, saying that you didn't even win by pin or submission. You won by count out. You shouldn't even be in this tournament right now. He's just being his heel prick self and everything else like that. And there was times where Carmelo Hayes kicked out of these crazy finish, his finisher or something like that or whatever. But obviously it ended up Gunther going and pinning Carmelo Hayes and stuff like that. But Carmelo Hayes did great. The audience was behind him all the way and everything else like that. And I think that Carmelo Hayes should definitely be going out more and promoted more by WWE, and maybe even eventually getting that title off of Ilya Dragunov at some point and stuff like that, because it's well deserved and everything else like that. But yeah, Gunther will be moving on to fight the winner of between Penta and Solo, which unfortunately, let's go ahead and talk about that. Unfortunately, Penta ended up getting injured during that match. I think he was doing some kind of move from the barricade and ended up landing on his shoulder really badly. So, and then they did that, and then they had a commercial, and they came back from the commercial. They pretty much said they announced Solo as the winner because Penta could no longer compete due to the injury and stuff like that, which nobody was happy. Solo wasn't happy he won that way. Penta wasn't happy and everything else like that. It's pretty sad and everything else. I hope Penta is nothing. I hope it's not nothing too serious, and he gets well sooner than later and stuff like that. But that really does suck, because now we have a Gunther versus Solo match, and yeah, okay, sure. Why not? Alright, so let's talk about the women's war games. So you had Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch was out there with Nia, Lash, Kyrie, and Asuka. And Becky Lynch was pretty much telling everybody, I assembled this team, and I'm thinking to myself, I think this team was already assembled before you're even a thought, but okay, sure. And Becky Lynch was pretty much putting everybody down, right? She was putting everybody down on her team. She was basically Asuka, Asuka's on my team, you're a great wrestler. We had many battles. I think 10 battles, and I think I beat you 9 times and everything else like that. But you're a great wrestler, but I still beat you and everything else. She goes to Kyrie saying, you know what, Kyrie? You're a good wrestler, but I did save your life, right? I saved your life, so you owe me and everything else like that. And then she goes over to Nia Jax, and she goes, Nia Jax is powerful and strong, not as powerful and strong as I am, and everything else. She did break my nose. I didn't wear a mask like rotten Rhea Ripley. I started laughing at that. That was funny, and stuff like that. But you know what? I'm more powerful than her. I'm more, better than us. And Nia's looking at her like, what? Like, what are you saying? And then she's like, let me introduce you to my good friend Lash, right? Lash legend with long legs and everything else. She's great and all this other stuff like that. You stick with me. I'm going to take you places. I'm going to build you up and all this other stuff like that and everything else. And then she starts talking about, like, the reason why she's in this War Games is because, AJ Lee pretty much cost her the title and everything else, and she, AJ Lee made the mistake of being locked in the cage with her and all this other stuff and all blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, okay, cool, all this and everything. So then here comes, Rhea, Io, Charlotte, Alexa, and AJ Lee. They go down to the ring, and AJ Lee, told Becky Lynch, she's like, you know what? The old me would have been teared your face off right now, but luckily for you, therapy works. But it's like, but at War Games, I don't need all that. I can let the old AJ Lee out, and I can rip limb from limb and everything else, and I can just go crazy on you and all this other stuff, and all blah 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 blah. And then she goes, isn't that right, Rhea? Rhea ain't got time for talk. She gets the mic and she pretty much hits freaking Nia Jax on top of the head with the mic, and they start fighting and everything else, and they pretty much started going at each other. It ended up where the babyface team ends up in the ring. Io does her over the moonsault on the 4 of the competitors, because Becky Lynch was gone. Becky Lynch didn't want no part of that anyway. She was already gone because she didn't get any of that and all this other stuff, and ends up, so the 4 ends up lying out, and Becky Lynch about kind of on the top of the ramp and stuff like that, and we got the team babyface, I guess, standing tall and all this other stuff. We'll talk more about War Games on this Thursday, but yeah, that was that. It was pretty cool. It's pretty solid and everything else like that. So at least we know why Becky Lynch is there. Not that we didn't know why, but now she officially said why, so now we know why. So we got the men's War Games. So the show started off with Roman Reigns, and he was telling they were in Oklahoma, and he told Oklahoma to acknowledge him, and he was about to say something, and here comes Cody Rhodes. And so Cody Rhodes comes out, and he asks Roman Reigns, like, I know why I'm in this War Game. Why are you in this War Game? And Roman Reigns is like, I've been in these wars. I've been in these wars since the beginning, and half of the team is part of my family. What do you mean why I'm in this War Games? What are you asking stupid questions for? Why I'm like this. I have an investments, and I have in the Usos and stuff like that. I'm saying they were my family members. Just before they were on this team, they were in my bloodline, right? And stuff like that. He goes, look, I don't like you, and you don't like me, but we both can agree that when it comes to family, it's more important and everything else. We will do anything for our family, right? And Cody Rhodes was like, all right, I respect that, right? And everything else. And he's like, welcome to my team, right? And he's shaking his hand. And Cody Rhodes is saying this, and I'm like, how is it Cody's team? I could have sworn that it was CM Punk that threw the challenge, you know what I mean, saying, hey, this, so I thought it was CM Punk's team. So I'm like, how is it Cody's team? But okay, sure. Anyways, as he's about to, he put his hand out to shake Roman's hand, and Roman's looking at his hand, and then the music starts of CM Punk And I go, okay, great. Now we can maybe get something settled here. It's like, whose team really is this? And they go, and CM Punk goes in and everything else. Obviously, the audience is CM Punk. They're singing a song and stuff like that. Goes into the ring, and he basically, told Roman, like, like, I ain't worried about you, because last year I saved your life. And basically he saved his life because Bronson Reed was gonna do a tsunami on top of the cage when Roman Reigns was on the table during last War Games, and Punk pretty much pulled him up and saved his life before he got fucking smashed and everything else like that. So I ain't worried about you and all the other stuff and everything else. I'm also not worried about you, like, you not trying to screw us over, because if you screw me over, you're screwing over your family and everything else. And he's like, you would never be mean to your family, you would never do anything mean to your family and treat your family badly, would you? No, of course not. Obviously he's being sarcastic because Roman Reigns has done that before and all this other stuff. And then he goes over to Cody and goes, what do you mean, like, you're saying this is your team? Like, how is this your team? And all this other stuff, right? And they were going back and forth, and Roman Reigns is like, y'all, like, dude, like, why don't you just pull it out and do a measuring contest? And I'm like, yeah, dude, pull it out. Let's do a measuring contest. I love to see a black screen. No. and then everything else like that. He goes, I don't care who's the captain of this team. I don't care whose team this is. I don't like you, and I don't like you. Okay, I'm only here because my family's in this right now. But I hate the vision more than I hate you two. That's all that is. It's like, it's my enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of deal. You know what I mean? But not really. But all this other stuff. And they were like talking and all this other stuff. And Roman Reigns ended up saying at the end of his promo, he was like, everyone be honest here. I think that title will look better on my shoulder, right? And walked away. And they both Cody and CM Punk had their titles on their shoulders, right? And Punk was like, who are you talking to, me or Cody? Right? And Roman Reigns is kind of like, he looks back and he smirks and smiles and kind of like looks into the camera and says, that's for y'all to figure out, right? And I was like, it's probably your title, Punk, because we already know what the title looks like on, what Cody's title looks on Roman, because it's been there for like fucking 4 years. We know exactly what it looks like, okay? So, obviously he's talking to you. Although he could be talking to both, because, Roman's greedy. He might want both, but I'm thinking he's talking about Punk. We don't need to see Cody versus Roman. We really don't. I mean, Cody versus Punk was good and everything else like that, but it ended up like that and all this other stuff. And Cody Rhodes is like, CM Punk goes over and he looks at Cody Rhodes like, I think he's talking to you. Right? And Cody's like, I don't think so. Like, whatever. Anyway, so later on we had the Team Vision, right? You had Paul Heyman talking to Drew McIntyre, right? Drew McIntyre was there because he was part of the qualifying match with a partner who they would have a tag team match, and whoever wins, they get to go first or whatever in the War Games and stuff like that. So it's a qualifying match, right? So Paul Heyman is like telling Drew McIntyre, look, don't even look at anyone the wrong way, because if you look at anyone the wrong way, you're going to get in trouble, and I need you here for the match and everything else like that, blah 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 blah, right? And Logan Paul was there, and he was like, who I think his partner should be? Brock Lesnar. And Paul Heyman is like telling Logan Paul's like, look, Brock Lesnar's on a mission right now because he wanted to get off the Roman for attacking, for beating his ass up last week or whatever and all this other stuff. and saying like, you know, Brock Lesnar's on a mission to go find Roman, right, and everything else. So don't even mention Brock Lesnar's name. And Logan Paul's like, I can't mention Brock Lesnar's name. And Paul Heyman's like, are you serious? And he's like, nah, I'm just kidding. You know who his partner should be? Braun Breaker. And Paul Heyman shaking his head no. And Logan Paul's like, Bronson Reed? And Paul Heyman's like, no, again. And he points to himself, and Paul Heyman's like, yes. And Logan Paul's like, great choice. So they have that and everything else. And then you add later on, also backstage, when you see Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and CM Punk talking. You don't really hear what they're saying when you see what they're talking and everything else like that. And here comes the Usos, and the Usos are basically like, look, y'all need to get your ish together and all this other stuff like that, because the only ones who are on the same team is me and him, right? We got a qualifying match, we're gonna win this match and everything else. We need y'all to be on the same team and all this other stuff, blah 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 blah, right? And basically they're like trying to like get this team together on the same side and everything else. They end up leaving, right? And Roman Reigns is like, look, y'all need to figure out who's the captain of this team here, right? You know what I'm saying, like that. And he ends up leaving, and you have like basically Punk and Cody end up talking. So we had the match. That match was between the Usos, Jimmy and Jay versus Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. And like, before that, you see Brock Lesnar coming into the arena. Who cares? Anyways, they had the match. It ended up being Logan Paul rolling up Jimmy for the pin and everything else. So he got the pin, so he got the advantage for his team. Then after that, basically you had all the guys basically all fighting each other and all this other stuff. Well, you had Cody, Punk, and the Usos and the Browns and Drew McIntyre and everybody else is like fighting each other, whatever. And then here comes Roman Reigns, and he basically is like handing out Superman punches like it's Thanksgiving turkeys or something out of a fucking van or whatever, I don't know. And he Superman punches everybody, right? Boom, Superman punch, boom, Superman punch, boom, Superman punch, right? Right, and we knew Brock Lesnar was there because we saw him earlier, and we knew Brock Lesnar was looking for Roman Reigns. So it was like, well, when is it gonna come out? Here comes Brock Lesnar, and he comes out, and this is so funny, right? And I don't know what happened. I don't know if he got startled. I don't know if he slipped. I don't know if his shoes are too big or what. But the pyro goes off. He slips and falls. The cameraman tries to like leave and try to do a quick something, go somewhere else. I'm like, nah, we already seen it, man. We already seen it. Okay, we've seen homeboy fall on the fucking ramp thing, right? And it's like, okay, at this point, it's done. Wait, let's just turn around and go back. Just turn around and just go back, right? Because then Paul Heyman is like looking at him like, what the hell happened and stuff like that. And you know, he gets his hat and everything else. He ends up going into the ring. And of course, now it's 5-on-5, something. The whole thing started. They started fighting and everything else like that. But then it ended up just like that. They just ended up with them fighting and not like who got the better end of it. We don't know because the show ended. So, but Brock Lesnar falling on his ass and busting his shit was fucking hilarious to me. That was like best highlight of the night. Other than that fucking Gunther and Carmella Hayes match, Brock Lesnar falling. I'm like, how's he gonna make it into War Games? He can't even make it down the fucking ramp. Okay, sure. But anyways, it's an alright show. The last week's show was better. But yeah, we'll see what happens in War Games. Like I said, we'll have the prediction show with me and Tim this Thursday, so be on the lookout for that. But anyway, thank you for watching. I will see you guys in my next video. Okay, bye.